Greetings, everyone. Brad here with Mild Mannered DDC. And I asked myself the other day, can you get a knife worth anything? Like, with some quality, good materials, etc., for less than 25 bucks. And there are a lot of knives less than $25 out there. A lot of them don't look too good, to be honest. And so I kind of had a thought to myself, well, let me look around, see what I can find. Let me go to some of the more trusted names that I know, CRKT, Kershaw, and some of the other more budget brands and budget lines of knives that are out there. And I came across one in particular that kind of inspired me. And it's from a brand that I've already talked about. So it's as a little bit of a teaser. It's the same brand as one of the knives in my budget top 3. So you can go check that video out. And actually in that video, I talked a little bit about what my definition of budget was. So, my definition of budget is like, 40 and under, really, more than anything. I think once you start to get over that $40 mark, you're getting, it jumps up pretty quick to 50, 60, 70. So for me, it's more focusing on, what can you get for, and there are some great knives out there under $40. Here's an example, right? And everybody likes to comment. The Rat 1. This particular version's in AUS 8. I think if you go to the D2 steel version, you pay a little bit more, but there's the smaller version of this, the Rat 2. But there have been so many reviews about this. I mean, everybody knows this is a great knife from a good company, and it's just a great everyday user. And so I'm not going to focus on, knives that already have a ton of, quote unquote airtime out there talking about them being good knives. So the name of this particular series that I want to try to do, I'm calling it B3. And I did a little bit of a teaser last night on Instagram, and not so much a teaser, but trying to get a sense from folks what they think about the idea. So B3 being Brad's Budget Beauties. And I think we're going to try to keep the parameters of that sort of less than $35 or less, not including tax and stuff like that, but sort of what price of the knife on the website or wherever. And can you get it with materials that are decent, a build quality that's decent, etc. So those are kind of I'm going to be on the hunt for these knives to see if I can find some out there and share them with you all. And maybe that's not a knife you're interested in. Maybe you're going, that's too low for me. But if you're new to the hobby, or you don't know if you like knives, or you want to try to get maybe somebody into the hobby, you don't want to be dropping 50, 60 bucks, because that could be 50, 60 bucks right out the door, wasted, never seen again. So really being able to rely on some budget options that are out there that maybe aren't the ones everybody talks about, to suit different needs, could really be valuable. So that's my hope with this series, with the B3 series, to try to do that. So let's just get into the first knife that I want to feature on this. And that's from a brand, like I said, that I've already mentioned before. That's right, Tangra M. So Tangra M is Kaiser Cutlery's budget brand. And I particularly wanted to show the box because I think these are some of the best packaged knives, period. Much less, in the budget series, or in the budget sector, which, you're lucky if you get, your knife in a busted old envelope sent to you. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty impressive. And we'll talk about how much all this actually costs, but let's kind of open it up. So what you get in this Tangra M brand, so these are Chinese-made knives. Maybe that's a problem for you. Maybe it isn't. It's not for me, but you kind of undo this little thing. There's kind of a cool little puzzle thingy they do. I give those to my kids, whatever. But then you open it up, and there's your knife. You get a cleaning cloth, which is cool, and then some, paperwork, whatever. All this for this little knife right here, and this is a little guy. This isn't a big knife. Let's get all this stuff out of the way. This is a little knife, but this little knife, with the packaging, with this sort of neat profile, good materials, and we'll talk about that for a sec, $21. That's right, $21. For a knife with a pretty good steel, one of the better budget steels, frankly, G10, a deep carry pocket clip, and on ball bearings. And yeah, this is not the biggest knife ever, but geez, I mean, come on. I'll put some specs up on the screen now, and you can go ahead and pause that if you want to check them out longer. But so let's kind of get into this. Let's do a quick size compare. So this particular knife from Tangra M is called the Amarillo, and it's designed by Azo, which is one of Kaiser's sort of in-house designers, and he's made some cool stuff. He does another Tangra M knife called I think it's the Santa Fe, which is actually, when I looked online, equally well priced, and that is a thumb stud knife, and it's got a Wharncliffe blade. I think I actually have one somewhere around, but I couldn't find it. So anyway, so let's get a little size comparison down so you can get a sense of the kind of knife, the size of the knife we're talking about here. And let's use a Benchmade bug out. There you go. So we're not talking a big knife at all, but we're not talking super tiny either. I certainly have had smaller knives. Let's compare it to our Bestex Swordfish. Yeah. And that rat one we talked about earlier. So yeah, I mean, definitely dwarfed by those two bigger knives. But again, they're also more expensive. I mean, this knife is 50 plus. So let's get into this, right? So you've got this cool little clip point blade, which I think is actually pretty attractive looking. It's a full flat grind, brought down to a pretty darn thin edge, and a really actually quite pointy tip. I'm traditionally on these videos, I like to kind of do my tail to tip, but this one actually is a little too pointy to to do that. So the blade steel on this particular knife, and on all Tangra M knives, is, you can see it right there, Japanese 440 Akudo. And, go over to Pete at Cedric and Ada. Check him out on this steel testing stuff. This is somewhere in between VG10, D2. If you really put a good edge on it, I think he got it close to like 154 cm, etc. So really on the higher 14C28, I mean, really on the higher end of the budget steel spectrum, and certainly way, way better than kind of your standard 440 or 8CR, or any of the weird 8CR mixtures that are out there, 4CR, 8 MOV, or what. There's a million weird ones out there. So yeah, really good steel. We've got G10, actually kind of reminds me of the PM2 G10. It's grippy, but not obnoxious. Looks nice. It's well finished. You've got stainless steel liners with some milling. They even kind of milled those out a little bit to try to get the weight down. You've got some nice polished barrel spacers. You've got a really fun flipper action, right? Is it drop shutty? No, not really, but that's all right. It is on bearings, running on ball bearings, so, not the hardest use knife ever. You do have a lanyard hole for those of you who are into lanyards, but you also get this cool deep carry cup pocket clip, and while the screws aren't recessed, they're pretty decent, and I actually, carrying this thing around, it got in and out of pockets no problem, and I was in different materials and, jeans, shorts, not jean shorts, but jeans, shorts, and slacks. So everything, it worked great in all of them. Really nice jimped flipper tab, hard to miss. I mean, I don't know if I can miss this. Let's see. Yeah, you can, I guess, if you don't put any effort at all. Yeah, but there, see, and that was almost, so at a reasonable price, it's actually got a pretty darn snappy action. I actually might have the pivot just a little too tight on this. I was futzing around with it the other day, and I noticed it was a little tight. Yeah, good, no blade play. Yeah, there you go. That's kind of what I wanted. I think I might have tightened that up too much when I was cleaning it out. So yeah, you get some packaging, right? You get to feel like you're getting some real value here for 21 bucks. I mean, that's really affordable for just about anybody. But most importantly, you get a knife that's kind of cool looking. I actually like the look of it. It's not the biggest knife, right? I mean, certainly it's a 3-finger knife at best. You're not really going to choke up here, although I will say they missed the the grind there a little bit, and it looks like you may have the start of just a little bit of a recurve, and you're probably going to get a recurve as soon as you start sharpening that at any level. But yeah, so this is the Tangra M series. Really check it out. In my budget top 3 video, I talk about this particular Tangra M. This is over the $35 mark, although it goes on sale. You can find them anywhere between 30 and 40, I think. And this is a button lock, which I love. You get the aluminum handles and some fluting stuff. Also great in that same 440 Akuto steel. But you can check out that budget video if you want to learn more about the Vector, Tangra M Vector, which is one of my favorite all times. But this little guy, really, I like it. And I think I'm gonna be keeping it, or maybe it could be part of some future giveaway or something, depending on how things go with the channel. But yeah, no, I mean, this is a great starter knife. And like I said, for 21 bucks, that's really, really pushing the value envelope there. And for materials that I think are better than, in some ways, what you're getting on, you know, some 8CR or some peel ply or whatever. I mean, I think you're really getting some nice materials here with some effort put into it. Like I said, sort of milled out liners, a good pocket clip with some nice spring to it, a good flipper action, a fun blade, you know, a fun blade style with a good grind, and yeah, just a good knife overall. So this is the Tangra M Amarillo. And like I said, you get kind of the whole package with it. You get a little cleaning cloth. You know, if you're starting up, this makes you feel like you got something special. And so I really applaud Kaiser and the folks over at Tangra M and whoever's doing these knives, you know, if they're doing them, obviously doing them in their own factories. But yeah, I mean, recommend it. Check it out. If you're interested in a little knife, I don't know if it comes in other colors. I didn't see it in other colors. Maybe it does. But if you're just looking for a little flipper for yourself or for somebody else, or maybe it's like a secondary carry or something like that, you really can't go wrong with this. And you're not going to be out too much money. And you know, you're going to have a knife that it works. This isn't a throwaway. For 21 bucks, that's pretty darn good. So there you go, the Tangra M Amarillo. I hope you found this B3 first sort of inaugural Brad's Budget Beauty episode video on the channel interesting. It was fun doing it. I'm kind of excited to be on the hunt now for these knives. If you have any suggestions, please let me know down below. I'd be love to check them out and maybe get a review up if I think they're pretty cool. But yeah, let me know if you think this sounds like it could be a fun series and something you'd be interested in, and we'll see if we can carry more. I've got a few more kind of lined up, so we'll test the waters a bit. But yeah, there you go, Tangra M. Nice job, good knife. If you got 21 bucks you're looking to spend and hoping to get a little flipper out of it with some decent materials, give it a look. Most importantly though, stay safe out there, be mild-mannered to one another, and all the best.